All right. It's going to take just a second for this to pop in with the other screen. Wow, that was loud. I've never used YouTube Live before, so I'm hoping that I can get it working. I'm going to share it to a couple groups and make sure that everything works. I'm going to have the YouTube comments up as well, as well as I'll have it on Facebook as well, which is where I'm sharing everything right now. I'm just trying to get this shared to different groups. So, wrong one. I'm gonna get this shared into a couple silhouette groups. And then we'll start doing this. Like I said, I've never used YouTube Live before, so I'm trying to figure out how to do everything. So, I also want to share this into a Kadoodle bug group. Probably this one too. So if somebody pops in here, let me know if the sound is working okay. When I tried to do a little test run, it seemed like it was okay. But this one. Okay. Let me turn my sound off on my iPad. So that I can see. Pop over to this guy. Sorry, a bit of setup. Like I said, I've never done this one, and I'm trying to figure it all out. I watched a couple videos on how to do it, but I think it automatically pops you over to YouTube if you click on it. It does. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's get started. I've got two screens going, so I'm trying to bounce between two screens. So I've got the chat. It should be on. If you pop in, say hello. But today we're going to be using some Kadoodle bug files to make a shaped card. I'm going to use some that I purchased. I am on the design team, so I do get files to use every week anyway, but when she has amazing sales, I like to purchase a bunch so that I have them for other things if I don't want to make a design team project. I am using the Silhouette software. The same principles can be applied using whatever machine you're using. It will just be slightly different. And if you are interested in a Cricut video, depending on which group you're coming in here from, then just let me know and I can do that as well. The first thing I need to do is I need to set up my page to my Cameo. So I'm in the page settings, which is this first little guy up here. I'm going to tell it that I'm using a Cameo. It's going to automatically adjust my mat and the size of my paper because I was working on a different project. So now I need to pick my file that I want to use, and let's see, go to desktop and pick my Kadoodle bug images. I want regular files. What do I want? I'm trying to make sure that I keep my iPad up in case there's questions that pop in from a group. I think I want the Witchy Poo kitties. I'm gonna open up. No, that's not what I wanted. I thought I had a new window. We'll do this. Go to Kadoodle Bug. So the website is kadoodlebugdesigns.com. Why does this always pop up? It's being weird. All the new ones, click on what's new. You can see all the new ones. There is a freebie one to try out. I think I'm gonna be using, let's scroll down, this one, the PG, which is Pretty Graphica Designs. I'm gonna use the Witchy Poo kitties. I think I want to use this cute little laying down kitty because it's adorable. So I'll pop back into my Silhouette, and then my Finder, I want Witchy Poo kitties. So when you get the files, you get a little JPEG image of what's in the file. You get some of the files broken down. You also get a scan and cut to and a make the cut file. You can always delete those if you don't need them. Inside each of these, you're going to get the GSD, which you would use for some of the machines. Silhouette running the basic edition would be a GSD file. Silhouette using the designer edition, you can use the SVG as well as the Cricut Explorer or Maker. You also get a PDF file, so if you're not using any kind of machine, you can print out the PDF and then make your own little trace and cut stencils. And I don't really know what the DXF is or the WPC because I don't use those. You can use the JPEG if you want to do a print and cut. You can make your own print and cut. So I'm going to drag and drop my SVG. So I just click on it and drag and drop onto my mat. And it pops over here. I'm also going to draw a rectangle because I want a reference for an A2 sized card. So then I'm going to go to my transform window and then scale. I'm going to change this to, it's a wider one, so we're going to go 5.5 wide by 4 1/4 high. Just so that I have a point of reference on how big my card is. And then we can ungroup this guy. I'm going to use the one down here, so I don't need any of this other stuff. I can either slide it over here and use it for a second card, or I can just delete it. Now I do want all of these pieces, and here's my rectangle for size reference. So because I want all these pieces to stay the same size in correlation with the backer image, which is this big gray one, I'm going to group them together using keyboard shortcuts, which is Control G on a PC and Command G on a Mac. You can also just go right click and then group as well. So then I'm just going to size this bigger, click on this one, send it to back, slide this one over here, make it a smidgen bigger, So that's about good right in there. So when they're all grouped together and I didn't move anything out of the way, it ended up being 6.997 inches in height. Didn't move any. They're all where they were to begin with, and that's how big it is. Now I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to keep this guy. I'm going to slide the rest of this stuff. So hold down Shift if you grab that other piece so you can deselect it. I'm going to slide those over there, and I'm going to work with this guy. Now, if I was to cut this out the way it was, I could make it into a shaped card by just cutting out 2 of these and then figuring out where I'm going to put my score on the back piece. But this one's kind of delicate and it's kind of harder to do that. So I'm going to do an offset. So I'm going to go to my offset right here. It looks like a little star with there's 2 stars. There's the offset and then there's the shadow offset. Or no, that's emboss. I don't need to worry about that. That's not me. I'm going to go on offset, leave it as the default of 0.125 and hit apply. Now I've got a lot of little bits in here. I don't really like those because I don't want them to cut out. So I'm going to slide this over here because I don't need it anymore. I'm going to save it for when I build my image. Now for this one, I want to go right click, release compound path. That's going to release these little holes. And then I can slide it out of the way and then just delete them. And now I have this piece that I've got to figure out how I want it to open and close. I can have it open and close on the top, on the side, on the bottom, wherever. What I like to do is bring in a guide. So I'll just put it somewhere. Doesn't really matter where. And then I will figure out where I want that other piece to be in order to make a flap. So I will kind of move this around, and if I want it to be there, then this whole piece above the blue line is what's going to be the flap on the back piece, not the front piece, but the back piece. Or I can rotate it, hold down Shift, rotate it 90 degrees. I could make it open on the back half. That might be easier because I'm not going to have all those little nooks and crannies. But what if you don't want it to open sideways? You still want it to open to the top. There's different options. So let me undo this turn. One of the other thing that you can do is take another basic shape, whether it be a circle or a square. Hold down Shift so you get a nice circle. Send this to back. You can put this kind of somewhere and stretch it so that you have a circle piece or a square piece that's behind it to kind of help fill in the gaps. If you want it to be more rectangular but not quite a standard card. And different shapes will be different kind of sizes. This one might need a rounded square. So let's start with a rounded square. Send to back. So I want it to be kind of in here. So I'm going to bring in another guide from the side. Line this guy up. So his butt's going to be right up against that. So I've got his butt and the tip of his hat. So if I wanted this to be more of a square card, but not quite a square or rectangle card because I still want it to be a slightly bit of a shaped card, I can then take my rounded rectangle, fill in the spaces. So I'm just sliding it over. And same thing with this one, I'm sliding it down. Well, there's that piece that's right there. Well, I don't want it to look like that. So then I can zoom way into this circle, or yeah, circle. Zoom into the shape. I want to make sure that my rounded rectangle is within the lines right here, within the lines up here, and over here. So this one's okay. This one looks okay, but this one not so much. So if I double click, I can get an edit point button, which on this one, it lets me edit the actual shape of the rectangle, which isn't what I want to do. So I can go in, I'm going to slide this guy out of the way again because I don't want anything to happen to that one. Take my knife tool and just click somewhere over here and click somewhere down here and just cut off the corner. So I've just cut through, cut the corner off, and then delete it. Then I can go back in, bring this guy back in, slide his butt up to there, slide his hat up to there, and then this won't matter because I'm going to weld it and you'll never know. If you want this to still have that offset of a shape, just make a copy of it. So just go right click, copy, paste, slide this out of the way, zoom out. Now I can weld this together. So I can either use the weld that's up on the top bar, right click and hit weld, or I can go to the modify panel and weld over here. So I've got several different ways, whichever is comfortable for you to weld it. And then I have my shaped card. Here it looks a little funny because you really don't know what it's supposed to be. But when you put all the pieces on, so this would be send it back again. When you put all these pieces on, it will look normal again. And then I'll have a little bit of pattern paper up here that I could put my sentiment on, which will be super cute. But we're not done yet because we still have to make it into a card now. So now I can either mirror it to the top or mirror it to the side, and I'm going to have that nice flat edge to have my shape on. So we'll go to the replicate window, and you want to mirror it so that it folds nicely. So you can either do mirror above, and then it would be a top folding card, or you can mirror it to the side and have a side fold card, whichever you prefer. I think we'll do a side fold card. So now I'm going to click on that and I'm going to nudge over once, and then I'm going to weld. So by nudging over once, I'm sure that it's overlapping, but I'm not overlapping too much to where it's going to be slightly skewed. So then when I slide my piece back on, gotta send this to back again. I can slide my piece on. You won't even notice that there's a little bit of fold there. You could go in and you could put in your score line if you want to. I'm not too keen on the fact that the Silhouette makes little dashes for the score line, so I'm just gonna line it up in my paper trimmer and score this. So I'll just line it up with the, if you have the wire paper trimmer, you'll use the wire, or if you have the aluminum rail one, you'll just line it up with that aluminum rail and score that. So let's get this aligned on my page. So you can see how it's going to cut. Generally, when I've done these like folded cards, I've used a lot of craft paper because I just prefer that. Email. But I think we'll do white because I think I've already cut down most of my craft paper. So I will need a piece that is 11 by 4 1/4, 4 1/2. Probably do 11 by 4 1/2 just to make sure I have enough room. Then I'll have my back piece. That will be whatever color, doesn't matter. This piece will be my offset, so if I want it white or if I want it whatever color. This is probably going to be white. So let's go in and put in my colors. So that's going to be white. This will probably be gray. This will be probably an orange or something, or black. I don't know. We'll figure it out in a minute. And then I'll put in all my other pieces. I'll probably take 2 mats. Do 1 mat with just this, and then 1 mat with all my pieces. Like how my dual monitor is the one making sound for things. It's very silly. It's very silly. So we'll slide that. We'll do this. We'll do this one. And then we've got this piece, which is going to be gray. Got this piece that is a different shade of gray. This one is another shade of gray. You don't have to make them the colors that they say they are. Most of the time I do. Some of these gray ones, I'll just ink edge them in a different color so that they're slightly different. And then we've got a black one. You can turn this a little bit so that it doesn't take up as much room. And then a purple piece. There's another black piece. So it'd be super cute to do a peachy keen face too. This will be black too. Whoa, getting a little crazy there, select tool. This one is white. So I can figure out where I'm gonna put all these pieces. So we'll do a 2 by 3, and then we've got another 2 by 5 for the black. We've got a 3 by 3 for the purple. I won't do anything smaller than a 2 by 3 because it's just too much if my mat's not sticky. It'll move, it'll slide, it'll be crazy. Here is an orange piece, and I'll probably do this in orange too, and then I'll just coat it with some embossing powder. And I think I'll pop over to my mat to do an assembly with this and set it up with my just Facebook Live videos. And then we'll do a 2 by 3 here and a 2 by 3 here to get all that in, and then one mat for just this. And then we'll cut this out probably either in white or pattern paper so I can have some nice pattern up there. So that's how you make a shaped card using any kind of file. Particularly we did it with a Kadoodle bug image. So that's how you do it with a pattern to make a shaped card, to make it not so shaped and a little bit easier to fold. Hopefully that helps somebody, and if not, if you have other questions, feel free to leave them below or over on my Facebook page. If you have any questions. If not, I hope to see you over for the Facebook Live. I'm going to get this cut out and then pop over there in just a few to get it assembled. I got to clean up my desk a little bit, so it'll probably take me about 20 minutes to get the desk cleaned up and get this cut out. But hopefully to see you soon over on my craft page, which is My Life in Arts and Crafts over on Facebook. Bye guys.